the general election we just had, for me, the vote is our strongest currency. It's our strongest piece of money. And like, we don't go to the shop to Tesco up the road from us here or Super Value. We don't go in there and buy sour milk because we don't want sour milk. And to me, voting for someone who you don't believe in is buying sour milk. And like, the thing I think would change, without going on a rant here, but politicians are getting away with not being accountable for everything they do. They're in public office. We pay them. We are the boss. So anything that they say, they need to be accountable for. There's a lot of dodgy, you'll know this from living in Bray, a lot of local politicians who say they're going to do things just to get votes. They do it in and around election cycles. They never do anything. They're busy claiming expenses. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them. And so for me, when they switch off comments, they're going to say it's because they're abusive, and that's fair. That's fair enough. You shouldn't be verbally abusive to these people. But if you have a question, the best place to ask them is on a public forum underneath the comment that you're questioning. It's that simple. But they're too scared to stand up on their thing. So I have the answer. On all elections where you're electing a human, at the bottom we should have none of the above, and you should be allowed to tick that if you want to show that you want to engage with the process, but you do not want to engage with any of these people because they're all whatever they are. If there's no one on that list, you can
keep it in blank. No, you can just.
But you see, I don't know. I think if we put none of the above in, I think that would win a lot of elections.
Yeah, and it's a stronger message. Yes.
And then eventually they have to change, or they're out of a job. Whereas if it's an amendment or a constitutional thing, everyone has to show for that. There's no excuse not to go and do that one. But yeah, politicians are. It's not an easy job. 100%, it's not easy. And listen. Sometimes most of these people are not built to be politicians. I'm not built to be a basketball player or an architect because I can't jump and I can't draw a straight line. I would never go into an architect's office and say, I want to be an architect. They'll say, why? So, because I like buildings. There's a process I would have to go through to prove that I can be an architect. Now, I'll never be a basketball player because Irish people can't play basketball. But I do feel that we need to hold them accountable. We keep forgetting we're in charge.
Yes. It's like I had a couple of issues here where I live with neighbors, because we live in what we call the block house, and not everyone is civic. Let's put it that way, not to call them other names. And I have a very good friend. He's a former guard here in Ireland, and I asked him for some advice. And he said, well, you need to contact the property management company and make sure that they work for you, because they need to be reminded about that. They tend to think that we work for them and not the other way around, but we are paying them. And just to do the analogy, it's the same with politicians. They are serving the people, at least in the paper.
Yep, 100%. And I think there's so much going on in life. Like, if you go do your shopping, it's going up week on week. Life is not easy for anybody. None of us are Bono. None of us. We all are struggling in one way or the other financially. And I think they appear to be so far away from us in terms of understanding what real life is like. That's how they speak to us. They speak to us in a way where they don't understand what we are going through. And then you get these kind of fringe parties and fringe people who are they're too much time on social media, where the opinions that you would have at the back of a bar that disappear before you get to the bar, they end up on social media and they blow up, and all of a sudden there's a group of them together. That's also a problem. But I think it's like anything, if you make a mess at home, your missus is going to hold you accountable for it. If the politicians make a mess running our town, we need to hold them accountable for it.
Yeah, 100%. And other thing that you pointed out, and I would again endorse that comment, is that some of the opposition, and it's not just in Ireland, it's very common. All they do is pointing fingers. They don't come up with solutions, with alternatives, with actual proposals. and that's very poor. I don't know why. Maybe they don't have ideas, or they're not confident whether they're popular or not. But it doesn't matter if they have a different solution. Just put it to the public, no?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, a lot of them don't want to drive the car. They want to tell the driver where to go from the back seat or the passenger seat. They kind of say these things coming up to an election, and then they don't want to be held accountable for it. Like there are people who are saying, look, they're going to build 1 million houses in 10 years. It's like they can't even tie their shoelaces. You know, I wouldn't trust them to run a bath, let alone a country. You know, so it's all of this sort of stuff. And I think what's happened with the last election is I think people have kind of thrown their hands up at it and kind of said, look, it's the devil we know. That's pretty much what happens.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing new in any of the top three parties that would make you go, okay, there's a way out there. Nothing. It's just the devil we know. We don't want to take a risk, and that's pretty much how it went. How it went there the other week.